I'm working up to a project that I really need to get to, but I've been tentative to get here. And that is actually going through a bigger story, the entire story, and showing the hero's journey in that to begin building up that knowledge of how the stories are structured that way. There's a template, the hero's journey template, that is going to emerge in these that it becomes more evident than the shorter verse type teachings. The Lao Tzu, Buddha, Jesus short verse are harder to see this. In the creation stories, Genesis, Greek myth, things of that nature, this hero's journey is going to show up. And what I wanted to do is just kind of give you a heads up that that's what I'm working on. And if you wanted to get this book, I am not going to post it all. I'm going to read it and post the reading. And I was trying to think of this, maybe I should take pictures of it or post it, something like that. But I don't want to violate anybody's copyright, so I don't want to do that. It would probably be okay because the channel's not monetized, but it might change in the future. And I don't want to have something taken down just because something is up that doesn't need to be. If you want to get on board with this, feel free to this is the version that I'm going to be working with. And feel free to jump ahead, but I want to talk about a couple of things that I'm going to be doing when we get there, and a couple of things to look at if you want to look ahead. My name is Dan Paulson, everybody else, and I've been working on this for a long time. There is an emergent pattern that we see from a lot of teachings from antiquity. There are sites out there, people that dedicate their life's work to looking at the validity of a religion because it looks like it might borrow components from elsewhere. Can we question the validity of it? And what I have found is that all of them contain this one template, and that is what we're seeing, but it's not easy to see the template. There's a special way to read it. And I will tell you that the template is a self-healing template. It plays out in the psyche. The template is actually based on what we must do to heal. It's not a template that we made up to follow. It's a template that actually deals with not many people are going to do it. You are going to struggle to leave your past behind. You have to turn inward. You have to face your fears. You have to defeat those fears. All of that emerges as a part of the template, as a teaching template. What this is for self-healing, but think about the complexity of the story. And you might wonder, why would it be that crazy? Then why don't they just teach that? And they probably did teach that. The template was available. It's used in. You'd be surprised. It starts here, and it still shows up today. This is Star Wars. The template itself is very visible as an outward structured pattern. These are adventures that you go on. Not very many people are going to do this, so there's some sort of a selection process in this story. It's going to be difficult to leave your past behind. So something like that is going to emerge. Somebody can't leave. They're stuck there. Somehow something happens that finally makes them go, and then they have to start defeating, or they build the group up, their crew. They get ready to go off on the adventure. This is the hero's journey pattern that emerges. But there's one degree of resolution that we turn it into the psyche, and suddenly we see that there's an incredibly identical pattern in all of them. But again, it's difficult to see. What it is that you take that template and you hand it to somebody and say, here, create a story, a wonderful story on this that plays out into the world. And I want to stop at this moment. I need to suggest something that we have a difficult time understanding, perhaps the value of the story in our day and age based on our lifestyle. We are very busy. We don't have much time. I get a lot of comments, buddy, you talk too long. You ramble on about this stuff. 2,000, 3,000, 500, 4,000, 5,000 years ago, what are they doing? They're working, they're eating, they're surviving. They don't go to work and come home and turn on the TV and cook their meals. Their life is a lot different than ours. Imagine having this intelligence, but you can't read, you can't write, there's no books available, things like that aren't there. The population is emergent. There are now thousands of people because we're getting a handle on things. What do you do with thousands of people that have nothing to do? except they're living together, but they're probably very close to where they work. They get up. A lot of people probably work for food. Here, I'll chip rocks. I don't have a job. I don't have a trade. I don't have land. So I'll do something there and I get bread and beer every day. That's my life. These stories would fit in that culture as their media. Imagine going back there and suddenly having zero media. The story would be it. The story would be it. So the stories are very important for a variety of reasons. They provide adventure, and in some cases, when it comes to religions, it provides value systems or somehow a structure for the population to live and have a belief system that's going to cause them to coexist in a way that is better than not having something in place. We need to have a structure in place. Imagine humans without structure. Yeah, we'd be animals, wouldn't we? Yeah, that's exactly what we are. We're not far from that. Okay, so this is not a fast process. It just simply isn't. That's not my fault. It's not that I'm not getting to the point. The point is huge. We can't give it 20 minutes. This is for enlightenment. This is to go from I hurt to life is okay. That's what this path is for. So not many people are going to take it, but there's all kinds of other things in that story that provide things that are important. Okay, so here's how it works. It plays out in the psyche. What they understood is that we have to heal, but they understood that there were things that were going on. They began to realize that we emerge from we don't know where. We're not created. When you're born, you're a baby, male or female, but that's not important in this teaching. You're just a baby. And you emerge from wherever we emerge from. We come from mother and father, but we come from the universe, right? We come from what mom eats, the food, the whatever carbon and nutrients and things like that come from the universe, that come from the planet, that come through her, that come into you. We're emergent from the universe physically and energy-wise, and that we can become anything. And from there we begin to grow and we divide. And they call a conscious part in this teaching is going to be a male part, and there's going to be a female part. And that's very common. That is a common hierarchy, and that needs to be maintained. And it's not about man and woman being in charge. That is analogous. That in their day and age, that's what was happening. Man and woman were in charge. So it made sense for them to say the conscious or the carnal mind is the man, whether you're female or male, it doesn't matter. Your consciousness is considered the male and your subconscious is considered the female. If you read it that way and you understand it that way, it's going to unlock. Those aren't real to the physical world. They're analogous to something in the psyche. So those parts are there. And then whatever we have experienced in life and put away, there's joy, there's pain, there's beliefs that we have that cause us to not be happy. We're hanging on to something. We want something. Something continually hurts us that emerges over and over again. Depending on where we've come through in life, where we come from and our experiences and whether or not we've been able to manage those experiences, we become products of those experiences and the emotional state we hold those experiences with while we are simultaneously trying to leave that behind. We're not dealing with it, so we don't realize we're bringing it with us. All of that stuff is in there, and that is when we get to a point where we realize, I got to change my life, that's where we have to go. Those are the demons. They're behind that wall of fear. There's a unified field that we all exist within, and life unfolds for us based on what we're holding in up here. The general state of who and what we are kind of flows us through life. And if we change this up here, what you will notice is that situations in life change too. Different experiences happen. You're directed away from one thing and something else happens, or an experience that might have affected you adversely one way no longer affects you. There will be changes in the way you experience life and going through this. But it's done through a higher self. It's done through that part of you that looks at things and says, that's it, I'm done. But not just that. That can happen in the conscious. This is a part of you that can look at yourself without being attached emotionally. This is a God self. It's a higher self. It's a higher being. This is going to emerge in the material. Those are the 5 things that I'm going to suggest that when we get into this, we're going to look at. And we'll see right off the beginning that you can assign yourself parts of who and what this is. What I'm going to do is restructure some names and things like that just to make it more familiar. But in the beginning, we see that Apsu and the progenitor Tiamat, the mother, gave birth to all. Adam and Eve. These 2 are right here. Tiamat is the mother. She gives birth to all. As you read through here, what you're going to... it's a little thick. Just look for the big parts to start with. They provide... between the 2 of them, they have offspring. That is analogous to us living our life and having experiences that we're putting away that are good or bad. We're creating our children. It's an analog. So as we're creating our children and putting them away, at some point, the Anu realizes, the father says, yeah, it's too raucous, it's too much noise. I don't get sleep day or night anymore. There's too much noise, it never stops. And the mother says, we've created these. We can't kill them off. And she protects them. And if we compare this, actually, the way this unlocks to our own personal life, when you look at how do I fit with this, or do I even fit with this? And what we could see if we play it out in our psyche is that this is, that we have created that life. It's acting out. We want to change. Let me make sure I'm clear right here. We didn't necessarily choose to create that life. We created that life based on how we thought about it, how we experienced it emotionally, and how we continue to hold it within us. That's how we create it, by what we thought, how we feel about it, and how we continue to hold it. We get to a point where we think, I got to make amends. I don't like my life. I'm at a point where I realize I'm mortal. I don't like what I have become and what I've done. How do I fix that? But there's a part of you in the past that doesn't want to let that go. All the habits, all the things that have happened, the things that have, the experiences, the long-term being raised, being told, you're worthless, you're stupid, you're ugly, you'll never amount to anything, you've been raped, you've been molested. Those things are very deep and they're very hurt, and they continually act out and impact our life, so it's difficult to go after them. And this is signifying that there's the female part saying, yep, I'm going to come and get you, and read through and see what's happening and put yourself into this story. You'll see how it emerges as something that plays out in our life, and then how we go to resolve it. This is emerging in the story as how it works inside of the psyche. Then we have to create a new self, which is going to be happening. There's going to be a part of us that is going to be created that's going to have to go in and deal with that stuff. And this is, I want to read something in here because this applies to a lot of the teachings as well. This comes in tablet 4. Marduk is who we are becoming. That is who we are going to be when we're going into clean house. We become Marduk. And so proclaim to it that the constellation may then disappear. Proclaim to it yet again that the constellation can be seen again. Upon speaking at his utterance, the constellation disappeared. Speaking again at his utterance, the constellation reappeared. I've been talking about cycles. Here it is. These are the things where, in this case, Marduk is looking at something that is a repetitive behavior, and you can interact with that repetitive behavior. It's showing up here in a constellation. We've talked about that. It shows up in Greek myth as a boulder being rolled up and coming back down, being rolled up, come down, a repeated process. The liver being eaten out, growing back, being eaten out. All of these are punishments. These are analogs showing something that is a repetitive, something that is, you can't get it off your back. It hurts you all the time. And Buddha, the wheel that follows the cart, showing a cycle. Jesus, the tree that grows up and comes down, and gets cut down but grows back again. They're all showing cycles. To everything, there is a season under heaven. Cycles. These are analogous component parts that we're going to begin seeing emerging, that when you realize what they are, they're carrying the idea that something is repetitively happening. They're cycles, yeah. Look for those things in here and What I want to do when I get to it is take the people that are up front and we'll work on creating that structure and seeing where they are, seeing how it fits. This is going to play out in here. It's going to be observable. And when I do it, we'll look at it and be able to decide whether it makes sense or not. There will be no claims of supernatural at all when that happens. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to give heads up on that. Look for those things, and remembering that as this is playing out, there's something happening. You know, there's one person that goes in and comes back all the time. This is the part of us that early in life where you think, I got to stop that behavior, quit doing that, and then you just fall right back into it. All of these are, put it to your life. This is a teaching for us now. This becomes our guru. It tells us how we begin, and then it tells us how the struggle is, how the male and female become separated, and then watch what happens. Keep working through it. And yeah, I'm working on that one now. It's a little thick. So the question, what came first, the Enuma Elish or Genesis? Obviously, this came first. But they're both built on the same template, as well as other things. So, yeah, Homer's Odyssey. You get the same teaching. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the video. Love one another. I'll see you in the next one.